Welcome to MDIC Live. Thank you for joining us today, where we will have a discussion on Case for Quality and one of its programs and initiatives. Today, joining me, we have Paul Sumner, Program Director for Case for Quality, and Desiree Steele, Program Manager for Case for Quality. Welcome.
Hi.
How are you today? I'm really excited to be talking about the VIP program. Can we dive right in?
Yeah.
Great. So, Paul, I want to start today with a little bit of background about who is MDIC, who are the people joining in and making all of these efforts possible.
Hey, hello, Deborah. Thank you. And thanks very much for having me here today. Welcome, everybody, to another lively session brought to you by the Case for Quality at MDIC. Today, Desiree, who's also on our Case for Quality team, will be joining us. Wave to Des. So today we are going to provide you a little insight on the Voluntary Improvement Program, also known as VIP program, which is a collaborative continuing quality improvement initiative within the medical device ecosystem. So before we get into the details of that program, let me, for those of you that aren't familiar with MDIC, um, MDIC is the Medical Device Consortium. We are a public-private partnership that brings together representatives from FDA, NIH, CMS, from the industry, nonprofit organizations, and patient organizations. We bring them all together in a convening forum to advance regulatory science in the medical device industry with the aims to improve quality and a vision towards safer and faster and more cost-effective innovation that ultimately benefits patients. To give you a little bit of perspective about our organization, MDIC is continually growing since the inception. It was a 10-year anniversary recently. We originated in 10 years ago, and today we are excited that we have over 75 collaborating organizations, 400 plus subject matter experts from around the world, um, in roughly 50 working groups and committees. And today we have in excess of over 70 valuable resources that can be used by the medical device community as part of that collaborative effort. One of our many MDIC value added initiatives in this regard is the Voluntary Improvement Program, or also again known as the VIP program. So that's a little bit of who we are. Um, I am actually, we'll switch gears a little bit. I am especially privileged and delighted to be joined today by Ms. Bleta Vuniqi, a policy analyst and a thought leader within the FDA for this interactive, informative conversation today. So back to you, Deb.
Thank you, Paul. So today we are very excited about talking about the VIP. So before we bring our guest from the FDA today, Desiree, can you tell us a little bit more about the initiative and all the efforts that are connected to it?
Sure. So the Voluntary Improvement Program, also known as VIP, is a highly innovative and quality focused program. It was originally designed to leverage a proven maturity model. So the capability maturity model integration framework, also referred to as CMMI. As Paul mentioned, as you'll hear later on, it is absolutely a collaborative community and effort. The program really offers a unique forum for both medical device stakeholders and FDA, so regulatory, to proactively come together to achieve common objectives and outcomes. The program, of course, places an emphasis on moving beyond baseline regulatory compliance activities, but also continuously advancing medical device quality and, of course, safety to achieve better patient outcomes. And so, with the proven successes of VIP and the leveraging of lessons learned, it is now a full-time program recognized by the FDA.
Wonderful. And I think with that, a little bit of background information about the efforts, we can now welcome our guest for today, Bleta Vuniqi. Thank you so much for for joining us.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. Hi. Thanks for having me and for welcoming me to be a part of this session. I'm really looking forward to the discussion.
We do as well. So, Bleda, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your experience, your role at the FDA that pertains to Case for Quality and the Collaborative Community VIP program? So we can get started with all this great content and discussion today.
Of course. So, I guess a little bit about me is I am part of the compliance and quality staff within CDRH OPEC. OPEC is the Office of Product Evaluation and Quality. I work on leading and supporting some of the case for quality efforts and initiatives that the agency is a part of. I have been with FDA for about over 12 years now, and I've held numerous different positions, including being a subject matter expert in the PMA side of policy and processes, in addition to quality management system. But I joined FDA as a medical device investigator. So I did both domestic and foreign inspections. And I say this because it all has lended itself well on me working and leading some of the activities in the case for quality as we bring all of this together to drive improvements and with the benefit of the patient, as Desiree so well introduced the VIP as part of the session.
Yeah, and in that introduction, it was also mentioned, right, that VIP started as a pilot program and it was launched in 2018. So what has happened ever since? What has have been the developments in this pilot program?
It has been such a long journey. In 2018, CDRH launched what it was called then the CDRH Voluntary Medical Device Manufacturing and Product Quality Pilot Program. That is what the program or the pilot was called in 2018, with the same goal, which was to move industry and FDA practices and behaviors away from just focusing on meeting regulatory requirements to more continuous improvement. In 2019, the MDIC Case for Quality Steering Committee rebranded itself and rebranded the pilot to the Case for Quality Voluntary Improvement Program, or what we know now as VIP. At around that same time, MDIC also launched working group to guide program development. The VIP Governance Committee charter was developed and ratified. We also launched the OPEC Case for Quality Steering Committee internally to the agency and CDRH, which is actually made up of representatives from all the different offices within OPEC. And we share information in those sessions. We gain feedback from staff from different offices, and really it's used as a platform for the Case for Quality staff to share information, and so they can disseminate the information downward to staff. It's been a very successful way of us communicating with staff around the entire agency. In 2020, the concept of operation and implementation plan for Case for Quality VIP was developed, as well as CDRH started developing the program framework for incorporating VIP into the draft guidance, which was mentioned, that was recently issued. In 2021, the collaborative community took a big step, which was announcing their permanent transition to the VIP program, so from a pilot to a program. And then this year, the agency issued the draft guidance, which focuses on the FDA's role on the VIP program. The docket to provide comments to the draft guidance did close this past July. And the agency is now working towards addressing some of the comments of the draft guidance and drafting the final guidance to send through our clearance process and hopefully issuance by, the goal being next year. So hopefully we can make that happen.
Hopefully. And like you have been busy in doing great work. So I am very happy that we can expand upon it today. So Desiree, can you then speak to some of the working groups that MDIC has and their activities connected to all of the things mentioned by Bleta?
Sure. So currently, the VIP program has 3 existing working groups that meet regularly. They are the Sustaining Working Group, Expansion, and Adoption Strategies. All of the working groups are comprised of representatives from FDA, even Bleta, representatives from MDIC, of course, industry stakeholders, and also appraisers from the appraisal community. So each working group has its own set of deliverables and objectives. So the Sustaining Working Group is really focused on maintaining published guidance and any supporting documentation, also providing those guidance to program participants. So one of the outputs from the VIP working group, from that particular working group, is the VIP Information Center, which really serves as a one-stop shop for participants to access documents, anything from governance documents. Bleta mentioned the charter, the governing committee, even the strategic plan for VIP for this year, reappraisal guidelines, things of that nature. So then we have the expansion working group, which is literally how it sounds. It is focused on expanding the Case for Quality Voluntary Improvement Program. So it overall supports future growth and then increased enrollment. And so for sites who are a little bit more mature in VIP, it also focuses on shifting those customer needs. And lastly, we have the Adoption Strategies Working Group, and they focus on regulatory flexibilities that provide incentives for industry participation. It enables enrollment, and of course, it streamlines those processes. So things that they're tabling or discussing are things like 510K submissions or 30-day notices. One thing that working group also does is looking at existing flexibilities and maybe finding new flexibilities or discussing those things and bringing them to the forefront to encourage the expansion of VIP adoption. And of course, in doing all of those things, they are maintaining FDA standards for safe and effective products. So lots of very fun and exciting and engaging work being done in all of our VIP working groups.
Now, taking that into consideration, Bleda, what do you consider is the value proposition and the impact of VIP? How do patients and industry benefit and the FDA from all the efforts that are currently being done?
Yeah, so Deborah, the medical device ecosystem is complex. Improving quality and safety is not only about meeting regulatory requirements, which industry is used to, but more of an effort that involves all the different stakeholders, requiring transparency, collaboration, innovation across all stakeholders to drive towards higher quality and improvement efforts. This kind of takes me back to the Case for Quality and why Case for Quality VIP was initially developed, which was to move industry and FDA practices and behaviors away from just focusing on meeting the regulatory requirements. There was a need for new tools and processes that would elevate and evaluate an organization differently, and that fosters continuous improvements at the manufacturing site. By developing the VIP program, the participants are more transparent. They're able to identify issues and share the issues with the appraisals, and involve organizational units beyond those that are part of the regulatory authority, but have a big play or big impact in product quality. And so some of the things that we've seen within VIP is the improvement in product quality and availability, increased manufacturing performance and value, as well as there's been a decrease in defects and quality issues. So when we talk about what is the value to patients and providers and industry as well as FDA, for patients and providers, access to information and resources on device quality is a big one. Collaboration of when issues occur, being informed on regulatory outcomes throughout the product life cycle, as well as improving the data sharing that benefits all the stakeholders that are a part of the Case for Quality. When we talk about payers, an opportunity to make better informed decisions by, having quality and performance data that informs those decisions. Engaging in design and development earlier on the cycle. And then for manufacturers, there's a lot of value, some of which we've mentioned, some we'll mention later, I'm sure. But identifying advanced technologies in design and production to proactively engage with the different stakeholders, including FDA, to resolve safety issues quicker, focus on innovation and identifying opportunities of how to get those products in the market faster, which is also a goal for the center, as well as the meeting the baseline of being fully compliant. And then we have CDRH or FDA and what our values are or our goals, which is identifying new tools and oversight over the different stakeholders or engaging with the different stakeholders, ensuring that patients and providers input is incorporated throughout the product life cycle, engaging earlier in design, engaging earlier when issues do occur, so we can accelerate the improvements that are needed, as well as to promote advanced technologies and digital collaborations across all stakeholders. So this is a lot that the agency and the collaborative community has been working towards, but just the fact that the collaborative community on their own worked on that they transitioned the pilot from a pilot to a full program was due to the successes that they noted as part of the pilot. And in addition to the agency issuing the draft guidance and is working towards issuing the final guidance, that speaks to FDA's commitment. It speaks to FDA's thinking around the Case for Quality successes and where we want to go as we continue working together in the future.
that is true. That is really great. And to that point per se, Paul, um, as the program, as the director of this program per se, what problems do you think, or like, do you know this program seek to solve, and what is success? How do we define success together for Case for Quality?
Yeah, it's a great question, Deb. And following Bleta on describing the overall value proposition, that's a hard act to follow. So, um, I think, like many of the Case for Quality programs, the VIP program is a path for industry to demonstrate their commitment to overall quality, beyond, as Bleta mentioned, beyond just mere compliance being the standard, but taking it a notch above that, that, hey, we're improving continually, and being able to demonstrate that to not only FDA, but also to the medical device ecosystem, especially healthcare providers and patients. They gain greater confidence in the devices and the innovations that are being provided to them. So it really is. It's a transformation to developing and showing that transformation or transition to a culture of quality in pretty much everything that we do. When we measure success, I mean, both Bleta and Desiree mentioned a few items. From a programmatic perspective, gaining greater adoption and increasing participation in the overall VIP program, from my view, is one measure of success. And getting to that level is, quite frankly, is about looking at the program beyond just class 3 or PMA type devices, and figuring out ways that we can make it beneficial and attractive to entry level type of manufacturers, to small and medium size um, medical device companies as well. And that's a pretty heavy lift, but we have, as Desiree mentioned, a number of working groups that are looking into the various possibilities based on thoughts and ideas that have come forth from industry, which include several different regulatory flexibilities that we're examining. And I think Desiree mentioned expanding into the 510K space, right? The class 2 and class 1 devices. Industry has also expressed the thoughts that we should be looking at change control, for example, in the product development life cycle. Risk management is another area that we are looking at. But the measure of success really centers around gaining greater participation, and of course, the measurable type of artifacts, as Bleta mentioned, reduction of MDRs, reduction of recalls, right? Defects is evidence of that continual improvement journey, right? That you're making higher quality types of devices. So, from a participant perspective, how do they measure success? I think is important to mention too. By being a participant in the VIP program, those participants have demonstrated um, higher quality in the products, operational improvements, for example, manufacturing efficiencies gained, um, and that potential manufacturing confidence, right, which are all important and they're easily measured. Some other benefits that have been expressed as a result of the VIP participants is also the potential for increased revenue opportunities, right? I mean, if you think about it, less defects in your products, defect management is resource intensive, if you say, and then if you're able to decrease, then that provides the opportunity of increased revenue, and it's all demonstrating that level of commitment at that next level.
It does. It does. And if we were to expand a little more about those early successes and like some of the lessons learned, can Desiree speak a little bit to it? Like, can you tell us some of the benefit metrics that are associated with participating of the VIP?
Sure. So, as we have all mentioned, the program absolutely brings value to its participants. We've also seen an increase in production capacity and overall customer satisfaction. To date, there are over 25 companies or so enrolled in VIP. That includes over 90 or so facilities. And so, if we talk about the actual implementation or the effectiveness of VIP, over 90% of our sites have a positive appraisal experience. We've also found that 85% of the sites have found improvements or ways to increase product quality. And overall, 95% of the sites have found added value from the appraisal itself, with very little conflict with compliance. And so, some other takeaways from this is that as a result of the program, we've absolutely seen an increase in transparency and engagement. And of course, nothing but a upward trend and continuous improvement from the sites on their journey.
Yeah, and Deborah, if I can add a little bit to what Desiree was just explaining and sharing some of the metrics that we've seen. Even beyond that, we've had a small manufacturer that shared that they've seen 27% reduction in their response and resolution time, 19% of defect reduction. Another larger manufacturer shared that they've seen 76% reduction in MDRs since their enrollment, 48% of reduction in field actions since enrollment, reduction in time to issue detection from 30 to 10 days. And, as Paul and Desiree mentioned, even just going beyond that, there's been an increased manufacturing performance and value by production savings, which has led to adding additional manufacturing lines, hiring more staff, investing in upstream and analytical tools, and increasing statistical process capabilities and controls, sharing best practices across the industry. I mean, all of this, it just lends itself to the shift in culture that the medical device industry is making for us all together to collaborate and drive towards a higher products and higher product quality to benefit the patient. So wanted to just share some of the other successes that we've heard from sites that have been participating, which I guess goes to also the value of the program itself.
It does. It does. And to that extent, like recognizing all the successes and the value that the VIP is bringing to the landscape, Paul, what do you consider that the future of MDIC's VIP program looks like? What can we expect?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I mentioned a few of the areas that we are examining to gain greater adoption and participation in the program. Right? That the entry level, small, medium size companies, the class 2 type of devices. I think one of the areas that I didn't mention is, for a small company or even an entry-level company, we're seeking and looking at ways that potentially we could make this program a little bit more flexible. For example, one of the areas being evaluated is modularization, or providing incremental type of appraisals, because entry-level companies can't just jump right in and swallow the entire appraisal program, because number one, they're not there at that stage in the product development life cycle. So those are kind of things that we're looking at. All I could say is stay tuned. Keep in touch with us, because there is more to come as we look at the journey and expanding this program.
I agree. And to bring this program today to a close, and recognizing all of the great work that you're doing and the different engagement opportunities that are available, Desiree, how can people participate, and who can they contact to learn more about the Case for Quality VIP and how to join in on these efforts?
Sure. Sorry. So we're always looking to diversify representation on our working groups, especially from stakeholders. We would love to hear from you. We would love for you to be in VIP. If you would like more information, or you saw something that sparked your interest, you can either contact Paul or myself, or you can reach all of us at the Case for Quality mailbox. Right at the bottom of your screen, it's cfqcc@mdic.org. And with that, yeah, we would love to hear from you. We would love to have you engage with us.
I agree. So thank you so much for joining us today and having this great discussion on your efforts. I am really excited about the future of the VIP program and the way that we collaborate to make that shift towards the culture of quality, beyond just compliance. So before we hop off today, do you, Paul, or any of you want to say a few more words?
I will just say thank everyone for attending this live session. This will not be the last live session for the Case for Quality, so stay tuned. With MDIC, we will be having more of these type of events in the future. We do truly hope you found this informational discussion informative and useful. And lastly, I want to express a sincere thanks to Bleta for joining us and providing hers and some of the agency's insights as to the value proposition the VIP program brings to not only the ecosystem, but I think most importantly to patients in the healthcare system. Right? So Desiree mentioned how you can get a hold of us. Please don't be a stranger and reach out to us if you have any additional questions.
Thank you, Paul. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. See you at the next MDIC Live.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.